A very good morning and a very warm welcome to each one of you on day 5 of FTP on Enhancing Academic Excellence, Quality Assurance Strategies for Higher Education. Today we have Dr. Vimal Rao with us for sharing her knowledge and expertise on a technical session on enhancing digital literacy, use of LMS, MOOCs and blended learning. Dr. Rao is a senior chemistry faculty at SGTD Khalsa College, University of Delhi. Ma'am holds a PhD from DU and has completed her postdoc at IIT Delhi. With over a decade of experience in corporate e-learning, she is a pioneer in integrating ICT in higher education. Ma'am has led the development of 50 plus MOOCs for SWAM and trained over 45,000 teachers as Joint Director of GAD TLC, Ministry of Education, Government of India. Ma'am also heads 3 national e-learning centers. Ma'am has contributed to national policy making through UGC and AICTE committees and serves on governing bodies of multiple autonomous colleges. Ma'am has received several honors including INSA Teacher Award 2020 and has been recognized internationally for her MOOCs. Her work features as a case study in an Australia-Indian Institute on Quality Online Learning. Ma'am, we are so honored to have you and we look forward to gaining from your expertise. I now request Professor Dr. Abhijit Das sir to give a green welcome to Ma'am with a slap. I now hand over the session to you, ma'am. Kindly take over and proceed.
My gratitude to the entire institution. That's Geeta Ratan International Business School. I am truly honored to be invited here. And thanks to Dr. Neelam and all others associated as coordinators. I hope the screen is visible to all of you.
Yes.
Okay. So, speaking on this topic, which is enhancing digital literacy use of LMS, MOOCs and blended learning. The first question we should be actually asking is why? Why the digital literacy of teachers? What has changed and why do we have to embrace all these tools?
To bridge the gap.
To bridge the gap
between today's generation and what the generation was before.
Anyone else?
And to be in par with the technology.
To be at par with technology, fine.
And with the growing technology, the use of AI, the teachers also need to be updated.
Teachers also need to be updated, fine. Any other thing? All those keywords are actually written in this visual.
I mean, one single line.
There are, if you look at national level, there are so many diversities. We have challenges of quality in every classroom, equity, access, to say the major 3 important components which education system should keep in mind, fine. And with the changing entire, when we have Industry 4.0 revolution, the workforce which will be required to enter different professional spaces, they have to be using these technologies. Even leave the professional space, even your personal space. Now there are some societies where everything goes in a digital way. If you don't know how to access these devices, use these devices, perhaps one cannot stay there. I think some of you must have witnessed it. So what happens when these students age and what surroundings they will have? There may be robots who are serving them in their old age rather than maids. So this next generation has to be prepared to live and work with these machines. Fine. We also have to restructure our various provisions as per the National Education Policy 2020. I will not go into much detail, but I will try to connect these dots. All the restructuring we have to now do is around the National Credit Framework, and there is one more document which is only for higher education, which is National Higher Education Qualification Framework, NHEQF, which we have to follow and keep in mind what all different type of courses we have to offer to the students with the minimum credit provisions of 20 credits per semester. Every curriculum of these courses has to be aligned as per the outcome-based education. I hope all of you are aware with this term. You are following outcome-based education here? The NAC and the NBA, they all require that mapping to be done. So, briefly I will touch upon that, because outcome-based education talks about the qualitative improvement we can do in the system with the proper metrics they have given, which is COPO mapping, which is mostly being done in a I will say just to complete the document, but then what additional can be done will reflect upon that. And that's where the role of technology comes, that rather than the face-to-face scenario, now when we are talking about rather than teacher-centric model, if you have to go to learner-centric models, unless or until you go to learner-centric model, the outcome-based education cannot be implemented, and that's where the role of technology comes and the blended learning model comes. The moment we talk about blended learning cannot be taken unless or until you have the empowerment of digital content or e-content, which is also now becoming very important, where you can offer online courses, online programs, degree programs only if you have the NAC and NIRF requirement as per the regulation. MOOCs, you can send the proposal, but even if you don't want to go into that direction, for your own blended learning, the e-content will be required to adopt models like flipped classroom model. And then you also have to work upon the assessment parameters, where assessments have to change. They have to be multiple ways rather than simply the paper pencil mode that we have been doing from many decades now. And once we are through with this cycle for our one particular batch of students, the revision to all these has to be done on a continuous basis. That will require the gap analysis of that COPO mapping, and it will also require the periodic review of the changing needs of the society, of the market or industry where our students will get employability. But keep in mind, not only the professional competence, we also have to prepare our students as good Indian citizens and good human beings. How to now move towards this? First of all, the overall credit framework, this particular document is there in public domain from April 2023, and it talks about right from class 6 onwards, there will be credits, semesters. Now this you should take it as a golden opportunity. This premier institution right in Delhi, you all are trying to get know-how of these as well as many other FDPs that your institution must be conducting. We also conduct, so you can join in online or other modes. But you have to take it in the spirit that you prepare yourself expert in some areas, understanding of the overall system, and try doing hand-holding of your school colleagues. So when you say community outreach programs to be done, can that one effort be done where you call upon or you go to some nearby school institutions, not the private one, let us handhold the government schools. Fine? So if you can identify, that is one area where, because they don't understand anything about the credit, and we can do the handholding. But apart from that, if you look, there are three important verticals where formal education is now is being given, which is the school education. Then we have higher education where we belong to, and one more vertical is the vocational education, like polytechnic institutions and all. Actually, many institutions started as polytechnic and now many of them have become deemed university also. So they have different skill expertise and skill has to be integrated. National Higher Education Qualification Framework talks only about the higher education, that all these changes, as NV says in the policy document, how they can be actually implemented in proper way. And mostly there are so many parameters, but this document mainly focus on how the flexibility and mobility of the students between these three verticals, the school education, which is the feeder carter, and the vocational education, which will be running parallel, we can say, right from school education to higher education, and the students from there also can have entry into our system. So multiple entry, multiple exit, not only for our students, but also from the vocational education. And why this need is there? The equivalence between these two is very important. Till now, if you look at the scenario, there are engineering graduates, fine, who have the know-how of that theoretical component, but then if you tell, घर में एक फ्यूज ही खराब हो गया, can you mend it? They will call someone who has not even studied what are the positive, negatives, are they? On the other hand, you have the vocational institutions preparing the students into different blue collar as well as white collar jobs, but then they are not taken at same way, neither by the employers nor by the society. उसमें बच्चे एडमिशन तब लेंगे जब कहीं पे भी एडमिशन नहीं मिलेगा तो चलो जी यहाँ करवा देते हैं. But they are not the first preference, never from a parent's point of view. So, for the very first time, which is also the global practice now, the vocational education is coming into mainstream. It came into our higher education in the form of BVOC and AMBA courses in around 2013 with the Kaushal Kendras. But then, now it is becoming that every student who will be given an undergraduate degree or a postgraduate degree, around 50% of the skill component can be there, and it has to be a compulsory part. In addition to that, there will be also vocational the value addition courses which have to be kept in mind while designing these structures. In order to go into this direction, we need to have need-based curricular structures and creative combination of subjects and disciplines. As teachers, because we have studied from that system, we think chemistry will go best by combining it with physics, maths, and maybe perhaps biology. That's all. Why not psychology? Why not economics? Why not commerce? Any real life application, if you see, even if it's a chemistry person, one has to make some company. The process will require right from entrepreneurship, the product development, its marketing, making a team, the entire teamwork, doing the finances also including GST, tax filing, etc. Knowing the legal procedures, but then we fail to do, we only fill that student with our theoretical subject specific knowledge. We need to change. There are different credit levels, I think you are aware about this, and these credit levels have been aligned with the National Skill Qualification Framework. So both of them now have 8 levels, and these earlier 10 levels have been readjusted into, so that the 8 levels of school education followed by higher education are mapping perfectly with the NSQF. What should be covered in these is the curricular plus the co-curricular and extracurricular activities. Now these were happening outside our classes, as clubs, as societies, and not every student was taking part. So can we offer these integrated? Co-curricular will be now integrated into the curricular, and extracurricular you can join them to give them all the credits. So there can be some full papers on sports, yoga, music, dance, which were kept outside. They are also nurturing the students in a holistic way. So components of learning award will be experiential learning, various music performance, dance, self-defense classes, value education, competition like hackathons, olympiads, yoga, sports activity, other physical activities, employment skills, carpentry, moral etiquettes, constitutional values, environment sensitivity, social or community work, NGO, etc., environment related. And there is an important pointer in the draft CAS regulations for us, which is 2025, it is not yet finalized, but there is a point where 9 points the teachers and the institutions have to work, and one of them is how you are working with your students for the community engagement, and another point in that is how well you are integrating the digital things and developing the e-content books as well. Field visits, projects, industry attachments, internship, earning credits through SWAYAM portal, the SWAYAM or the SWAYAM Plus. Why all these? Because the student has the same 24 hours that we also. So we cannot add these. We'll have to make provisions in our, by decreasing the subject specific things, integrating activities in those, and adding new courses which will be around this. Especially when you come to your subject specific courses, till now we have been focusing only on teaching of those core concepts. We are not undermining, but we have to give a relook on those. Because if we talk about competency based education, it is not only about the knowledge, it is also about the skills and the abilities which we provide to students, and in abilities it will also be the attitude. Many times it has been seen that 80% of the people will be failing if they are having knowledge and even if they are having skills, but their attitude, how they behave with others, whether they are ready to do collaborative activities with the team, whether they are able to learn new things. Many things नहीं मेरे को तो सब कुछ आता है. So that attitude is not going to work, and we have to nurture the students in all these 3 fronts. This is actually the major problem, and I am making it as a background because after 5 years of the policy, after so many years of our earlier policies which also reflected on quality, including Kothari Commission, we are not able to make our curriculum right. And this recent letter you must have all got from UGC. notification being sent by AICT that we are not able to make our teaching learning practices move from rote learning to conceptual understanding, critical thinking, creativity. This is the 29th April 2025 letter. All universities and institutions are told immediately change your curriculum because the students are complaining, डालते तो जा रहे हैं but delete कुछ नहीं किया. So we are feeling overburdening and they are not actually taking part in activities effectively. And that needs the proper implementation of outcome-based education. At AICT, the outcome-based education was implemented through a treaty signed between National Board of Accreditation. Do you have some AICT courses also in your institution? No? थोड़ा सा ना broader picture भी मैं अपने youngsters को बोलूँगी. You should have the entire understanding. Fine. I was fortunate to have worked in various assignments at different regulatory bodies. So, 2014, National Board of Accreditation signed a treaty with Washington Accord, which is an international body for program accreditation. And when our students from as premier institutions like IITs were going outside, it was found they are lacking in most of the graduate attributes, and these are the 12 pointers where subject specific are only these 3 which I have put up in blue. And if you see ethics, environment, sustainability, individual teamwork, communication, project management, engineer and society. If a group of engineers is planning to make a dam and in the process 5 or 6 villages are to be relocated, where they should be relocated, you also have to be looking into what daily earnings they were doing and the entire society requirement of those villages. But we do it mechanically. Project बनाना है, इतनी cost लगेगी, इतना कर दिया, ये structure है डैम का जो हमने physics में पढ़ा या maths में पढ़ा या architects में, and now you get started. And you see there are so many revolutions happening around that. Fine? So we have to be giving that humane touch to our students. हमें robots नहीं बनाने हैं. Robots तो अलग से हम बना सकते हैं. Humans have to be given that human intervention. I happen to be, so I'm talking about 2015, then it was implemented in entire country by making model curriculum around this. But somehow prior to Corona, that training was not so vigorous. Now that online is making it so many programs possible, so many participants can join and they can be more reach till the last classroom of our country. 2021, AICT got a letter from ministry that on the lines of NCERT, which has all the books available at affordable rates to the students, we should make books, technical, it was called as technical writing books because they are from the technical domain, for engineering and polytechnic courses, and they should be translated into 12 regional languages so that these education can also be provided into a regional. Try to understand a bigger picture. Fine? And now you have the classrooms with different mother tongue also coming. So as a teacher, I may not be able to give that provision. So the translation tools also do help in our classroom situation with the help of technology. But then here there were 7 or 8 books and one of them happened to be chemistry. It was given to me. I was in some committees like studio development there. And they told me that you analyze whether it is around NEP or outcome or we need to change. So I proposed this structure and that was accepted. And now it is the third year that we are preparing these books. Earlier it was a 3-member committee, now it is a 2-member committee that we are doing this. And what changes, I will tell you briefly which needs to be done, which also you keep in mind. And in order to implement those, you require digital resources. So I will come to your digital resources, but I'll take 5-10 more minutes. 2018, UGC also adopted outcome-based education. Perhaps we were not so much aware. We were aware with the terminology that we have to write learning outcomes. And if you recall, we reframed our curriculum after the CBCS into LOCF. Yes, you are involved in that? And what is that LOCF full form? Learning Outcome Curriculum Framework, that is nothing but the outcome-based education. And if you look at that document still on public domain at UGC website, 2018 document I am talking about, go through that, it has these various pointers that we have to prepare the student. Discipline knowledge is just one. And look at now, communication skills, critical thinking, problem solving, analytical reasoning, research related skills, reflective thinking, cooperation, teamwork, scientific reasoning, information or digital literacy and so on. But we failed as a system. We have not been able to do, and the culprit is syllabus. Please make your syllabus light but modern. Look at what are the overlaps in class 11, 12 with your subject. Please unko to hata do. Why are you wasting your time to put it? That can be just a prerequisite. You can give a bridge course. You make some videos. The students can do the learning on their own, and you keep some remedial classes for the students who are not able to cope up with that level. Fine. And now NEP says these 2 slides should be followed. One is around your subject, and in subject the first and second area are still being handled. Skills are missing that you have to add in any of the practical component or design the new skill courses around your subject. Capacity to extrapolate from what has been learned, translate the concept to real life situation and apply acquired competencies in new or unfamiliar situations. That cannot be done if you are having the same 5, 6, 10 years question papers, same numericals being given to the students. As 9th class or 10th class students, we are told to do rote learning of the chemistry equations. How the hydrogen gas is getting generated, but we don't relate it with the realities in the life that if some accident is happening because of the balloon catching fire in a birthday party, the culprit is hydrogen gas, the cheaper alternative for what the safer helium gas should have been used. We don't do that. And these are the मिसिंग जेनरिक लर्निंग आउटकम्स. और इसका भी तरीका हमने क्या निकाला है एज इंस्टीट्यूशन. अच्छा, कम्युनिकेशन स्किल चाहिए तो एक पेपर हम कम्युनिकेशन स्किल का डाल देंगे और हमारा वो टिक मार्क हो गया. टिक मार्क तो हो गया, बट दीज स्टूडेंट्स व्हेन दे रियली गो टू द नेक्स्ट लेवल और आउटसाइड इन द वर्क एनवायरनमेंट, they are not able to relate with their subjects, those technical terms, and not able to communicate in front of a committee which is going to either hire them on a good package or give them VC funding for their entrepreneur model. So 5 minute की communication skills and their presentation, weaving it with their ideas and the subject knowledge, crores funding, they are jobless. I am not undermining the presence of these courses, they should be there, but in addition, every subject should be preparing the students into 3-4 of these generic learning outcomes, and as you combine the entire 4-year, different courses, all should be given a tick mark. And that will require weaving it into different activities inside our curricula. You don't have to have a separate paper. Separate paper some will do. Environmental studies, it is compulsory as per the Supreme Court ruling. And why that? There also the students will rote learn, get 90% marks, and when they get come in our institutions or inside the lab, they are actually not following the environmental friendly practices. So it is of no use. To go to the applied aspect of each of these. And in order to nurture our students into good Indian citizens, we should be providing them the understanding of our constitution, the preamble and Article 51A, which are our fundamental duties. Whether it is our duty to develop scientific temperament, humanity, preparing our students towards collaborative effort, preparing them to serve our country, towards environment, all these are already written. So outcome-based education is also clear reflection of what we already have in Article 51A, which we need to do as a country to make our society a better one. And keeping all these things in mind, we designed this AICTE template where in our curriculum not only the contents, but before that what are the interesting facts, what video resources can be provided for self-study, use of ICT in that, applications in real life or industrial setup, case studies. When we talk about ethics being introduced to a pharmacy student, can we tell him or her the corona case की 80 रुपए की मेडिसिन अगर आप 80,000 में भेज रहे हो, what type of ethical practices you are doing? Expired drugs getting repacked. Is this ethical? So we have to bring these case studies, create inclusiveness and curiosity with various questions and brainstormings, solve problems, some interesting facts like identity. You have to go out of the subjects. Identity and twins are mirror images. I try to connect with the mirror image molecules in my chemistry. They are not able to understand why two mirror image molecules are not having similar properties. So orange and turpentine oil, they have mirror image molecules I will reflect upon, and there are plenty, I'll skip those, but you can talk about in correlation with your subjects to try to search. One such activity, this I will like to mention here, which is extension of the curriculum and developed into an entrepreneurship model. I was teaching cosmetic chemistry. I keep on taking new papers to see what new activities can be involved for the students. And in cosmetic chemistry, we have a straight experiment written as in the syllabus. Make face powder, and we mix different chemicals. We have processes. Do this, and they will do mechanically. Done. How it can be applied in real life? एक होली का गुलाल बना के दिखाओ पूरी क्लास को, which should be friendly and not like the cheap gulal, which is dangerous towards skin. So they did entire analysis, entire class divided into 5 groups, and they were told into what are the steps of entrepreneurship. They designed the entire product, put up, and 5,000 seed money I gave to the entire class, and we made profit of 5,000, and all these generic learning outcomes I could map. So we need to add these type of activities now, and they have to change from batch to batch. In order to do this, we have to change our methodology. Gone are the days where we used to have this model. There are so many positive, one can say. There is a life learning happening, life skills, residential, very low group size, fine. Student-teacher ratio is good, but we cannot go here. As technology, and look at these teachers, they used to write on stones, leaves. Then we have the Takti Kalam, slates, all helping us. Pencils, pens, paper, okay. And we reached here. But यहाँ आके हम अटक गए हैं. Those institutions which are having better, they are having the version which is projector. But यहाँ पे भी आके अटक गए हम. If the teacher is near the board, that is teacher-centric model. Many teachers at the country level were not able to even use these gadgets. But when Corona virus pandemic came, we as community, we tried to learn because there was no other option. जब तक आपके पास आसान तरीके होते हैं, you will not change. So leave that inertia. Even if you have options, try to keep on learning new and new things. That is what will make you ahead of your competitors. And now is the world of competition. Teachers prepare the content like this, but this is not the way. There are better ways. And this is the future of classroom teaching that we have to prepare our students. If you think you don't have a robot in your class, how many of you have robot in your class? No one? Perhaps I think all of us have. Look into your smartphones, you have AI tools, you have search engines, and so do you have your students as well. वो फिजिकल रोबोट नहीं खड़ा, लेकिन वो रोबोट बच्चों के पास भी है और आपके पास भी है. और अगर वो आपका जो टीचिंग मेथोडोलॉजी है वो इंफॉर्मेशन देने की है, जो उसे एक क्लिक पे, आप तो 4-5 घंटे मिल के नोट्स बनाओगे, ओके, 1 घंटा डिलीवर करने के लिए, वो बच्चा एक क्लिक में निकाल देगा. एंड दैट इज व्हाई if you are not giving something interesting in your class in a different way, the students will stop coming to your class. वो 75% हमने जबरदस्ती किया, remove attendance. तब पता लगेगा किस टीचर में कितना दम है, बच्चे अगर उसके बाद भी आते हैं. I am personally of the view, attendance should not be compulsory for our adult learners. If you do not have the methodology to handle them and to take them to the next level, which will require the human touch. So with this background, it is difficult to imagine education without technology. The solution is not कि आप बच्चों को बोलो मोबाइल फोन बाहर रख के आओ और अब मैं पढ़ाऊंगी वही वाला जो गुरु शिष्य सब कुछ जो मेरे माइंड में है, I will pour from the better known to a lesser known. Now they are not lesser known. And higher education problems can also be solved whether they are quality in every classroom. The quality in every classroom is not there. So if you are a good teacher, you have even better responsibility, bigger ones. Make that content and provide to other students. Why only a handful of students in your entire life? Why not you are able to touch to the students even after we leave this world? That's where the power of digital thing is there. If we talk about integration of technology, it is not the first time we are talking about after NEP. We started with NEP ICT project at the national level, perhaps in 2019 when Interactive, some problem is there, teacher? आगे आ जाओ.
Some are feeling cold and some are not.
जिनको ठंडा लग रहा है वो आगे आ जाओ.
जिसको ठंडा लग रहा है वो इधर आ जाओ.
तो मैं चलता ही रहेगा क्लास की तरह कालू की तरह.
So, NPTEL, EPG Pathshala, spoken tutorial, all they started. We had MOOCs launched in which year? 15 August 2015. I was there. And then 2016 it was rolled out as first phase, trial one. In 2017 we had UGC MOOCs, this entire SWAYAM board MOOCs guidelines of 2017. We also developed, I was a member of this committee, that looking at the futuristic requirement, there are many students who will work and parallelly they will like to earn degrees. So fully online programs and the provision of MOOCs up to 40%.
Ma'am, there is one thing like this MOOC provision of 40% has been there. Is it like a pre-notion for the internal and external? Because majority of students are having a problem that though they have 40% but they are not able to clear MOOCs.
See here, you should be first of all selecting only those MOOCs which are perfectly fitting your course requirement, number one.
Okay.
The other thing is you should also do some mentoring here. Now we are talking about the blended mode of MOOCs. So there is a provision that every institution should be having a know-how of the MOOC in that very particular subject, whatever you are integrating. Otherwise the students will not be able to. So you can conduct some face-to-face classes to clear their doubts and do the hand-holding. And you should know that whether this is something of the same level of the students or not. Otherwise, that will be just for integration and the students will not pass, and then again in the next year you will give them some alternative paper from your institution. You also have to analyze it in this way that what are the, in the light of NEP now you have to add skill courses and so many other. So can there be some courses which can be given to this so that the student is flexible? And your institution point of view also, when you think of giving choices and electives, here also you have to give an NEP. That cannot be done purely face to face. If in a class you have 60 students, can you give them 60 options?
No.
Definitely not. So you have to use that 40% provision in a judicious way where you can give electives also. Fully online courses with some provisions the institutions can now make. There are already many institutions who are doing that, but it will require certain parameters. Dual degrees are there, तो आप अपने बच्चों को बता सकते हो along with the normal thing you can go into these dual degrees. And now NEP talking about the extensive use of technology, blended learning models are being advocated, and it is clearly written while promoting digital learning. हमें लगता है online का मतलब सब कुछ online की तरफ चले जाएंगे. No, online has to be used to empower our processes and us to enhance the quality, not just to meet those NAAC or other parameters. So it is clearly mentioned in the policy document that while promoting digital learning and education, the importance of face-to-face, in-person learning is fully recognized. So when you evolve the blended learning models, what can be done by technology and what part has to be done face-to-face is coming from those additional components of outcome-based education. Teachers have to go training around all these. Your institution is already giving you that opportunity. Learner-centric pedagogies and teachers' role in facilitating active student engagement with the content and with each other. So we are no longer teachers from teaching perspective. We are here to now mentor, guide our students and facilitate their learning and co-learn with them. And that will require moving from teacher-centric to learner-centric models. And that cannot be done unless or until the teachers are tech-savvy, and that requires the implementation of blended learning. In order to understand more about blended learning, we should start with e-learning. It's not a new term, but I'm trying to make a correction. And in order to have e-learning implemented in any education and even for a training space, content is required, digital content. Now, what is the role of digital content in learning? Let us try to see. And I will show you this learning pyramid, which you can do a Google search and get very easily. And I will request all of you should show this and the Bloom's taxonomy to your students before you start teaching. Your students should know how learning happens. And you recall your own learning journey. If in that teaching learning environment, the teacher has used only the lecture mode, only 5% learning will happen, whatever the best teacher and whatever the best learner may be there. How it increases? If the student goes into reading, making notes, going to the library, and then that's all the strategy. But now there is no need to even go to the library. All the resources are available in the mobile phone. But reading is important. Now you see our education system, because of the odd geographical location, the development and use of AI in education should not deepen the digital divide and must not display bias against any vulnerable groups or minority or any sensitive segments of our society. Understanding AI in education, these are the three big questions now to all of us that we have to find solution and work accordingly. How can AI be leveraged to enhance education? How can we ensure the ethical, inclusive and equitable use of AI in education? How can education prepare humans to live and work with AI? Definitely not that you keep your mobile phone outside. You cannot prepare the students to live and work with AI. Isn't it? And we also have to be preparing our students in ethics towards AI. Rather, there are MOOCs proposals which are being asked, the deadline is 30th June, where AI in ethics, AI in society, there are so many MOOCs which will be given to be generated around AI. So be a good human while using AI products and do not use them to create any harmful content, which unfortunately is happening. It is prohibited to use AI products to mislead anyone that it has been generated by me and not by AI. I told you that video and I have not removed the watermark there. It is generated by AI. Fine. Do not provide any medical advice. Do not provide any legal or financial advice. Do not generate any political content. Do not generate source code or any other softwares like viruses. Do not generate any nudity or shocking content. Do not generate or disseminate information to be used for administration of justice or other legal purpose. Imagine on the seat of the judge, we have some robot sitting and telling us as humans, I am giving you imprisonment of 5 years. Will we allow that? No way. So right from and do not implement fully automated decision making. So as institution we should change our policies. अभी भी हम लाइब्रेरी में वही बुक्स खरीदते जा रहे हैं जो बच्चा शायद पढ़ नहीं रहा है. We are misusing our resources.
और AI टूल्स एक हफ्ते यूज करने के बाद पैसे मांगने लग जाता है. So are we giving that empowerment to our teachers? Is a big question mark. And at the end, I will say it is the continuous capacity building of teachers required, because tools will keep on coming up and going, and it will keep on advancing. But अगर हम use नहीं करेंगे start करना, तो we will be left behind. So good quality content books can definitely make contribution to make a better and stronger India in the field of education. And I will end this session with a quote. In life, there are different examinations, and every person has different question paper. No two have same. Why are we giving the same question papers from the previous 5 years? Let us prepare the students for the real life challenges they have, and that cannot be done without routine. And that's why you need the digital empowerment. That's why we need to know what are the better methods to prepare our students in holistic manner. So thank you everyone, and any questions, I am here. So you have to go to Canva or Photoshop type of tools, उससे बना के आप graphics निकालो. PPT में भी graphics you can share. Save your entire slide as high quality JPEG or PNG file. So थोड़ा सा know-how on all these 5 formats also, I think it is better as we advance. That can be done. Any other question? But the videos, I will say, should be made with that intent. I am creating something which is going to stay after I leave this world. Can you create a masterpiece for you? अभी भी देखो कितने actors हैं जो they have left the world. Find them living through those videos and those songs and all. They have made them immortal. So this is a golden opportunity for all of us as teachers. Either do is a group thing, but put your heart and soul into that. तब जाके कंटेंट बनेगा. वो खाना पूर्ति वाला को जैसे बुक्स लिखी जा रही है, रिसर्च पेपर लिखे जा रहे हैं, ऐसे ही कंटेंट बनेगा. तो आपको कैसा कंटेंट इस वर्ल्ड में छोड़ के जाना है आपके फेस के साथ, you have to decide. तो जरूरी नहीं है हम साल में 100 वीडियोस निकालें. कई एक्टर्स हैं जो 3-3 साल तक एक वीडियो निकालते हैं, वो भी 2-3 घंटे की वीडियोस हैं. तो ट्राई करें. हर महीने हम अगर एक वीडियो निकाल पाए अच्छी, कैन वी डू इट एज अ ग्रुप एक्टिविटी? That will be good contribution. Because then you try your best. नहीं तो अच्छा जी सारी क्लास का भी बनाना है, खाना पूर्ति, वो खाना पूर्ति वाली बात नहीं होनी चाहिए. And make a team, because not everyone takes seniors along. जो उनकी rich expertise है in understanding that topic, और जो juniors की टेक्नो सेवी वाला बात है, उसका combination चाहिए. मेरे जैसे थोड़े कम हैं लोग जो डेस्टिनी ने शुरू में ई लर्निंग वर्ल्ड में भेज दिया. बट यू हैव टू हैव द कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ सब. आप एनिमेशन बहुत अच्छी बना लो, लेकिन आपको सब्जेक्ट ही नहीं आता है, उसकी डिलीवरी हो. इसीलिए लेट मी नॉट नेम XYZ कंपनी. देखो स्कूल एजुकेशन में बहुत कंपनीज आ रही हैं. आज तक कोई कंपनी हायर एजुकेशन में चैलेंज नहीं ले पाई है अपने प्राइवेट बुक्स का या प्राइवेट ई कंटेंट बनाने का. 12वीं क्लास तक या IIT JEE मेडिकल एंट्रेंस में रुक गए हैं. व्हाई? उनका कंटेंट निकाल के देखो. जो NCERT की बुक है उसका एनिमेशन डाल के ड्रामेटाइज करके बच्चे से स्पीकर्स जो मैंने भी जब when I joined, I was just a fresher after my PhD completion. I was not having that comfort knowledge of the chemistry which now I have got the understanding. तो इसमें हमें जो सीनियर एक्सपर्ट्स हैं उनकी रिच एक्सपर्टीज, उसके साथ जो हम टेक्नोलॉजी से उसको और एनहांस कर सकते हैं. It has to be that blend which is required. तब वो एक वीडियो जो मेरे से I really admit here, EPG पाठशाला का मेरा इतना अच्छा कंटेंट नहीं था जो मेरा अर्पित का प्रोग्राम, अर्पित, दिल्ली पुलिस and this Indian Cancer Society, they are my best creations till now. तो एक satisfaction आता है. Yes, this is what we have contributed to the system. So prepare it. और उसमें ये नहीं चाहिए होना कि अगर हमें in front of camera, I have seen many male colleagues, नहीं हम ये मेकअप नहीं लगाएंगे. लेके जाना चाहिए आपको साथ में. वहाँ पे किसी का नहीं यूज करना चाहिए. We had cut up और अपने ही कलर का लेना चाहिए. वो क्यों? क्योंकि अगर लाइट आ रही है और गर्मी जैसे पसीने बह रहे हैं तो वो चमकेंगे. Sample videos when they were shown in front of the UGC standing committee, तो कई बहुत से वो स्पीकर तो बहुत अच्छा है, वो चमक रही है यहाँ पे वीडियो. तो पसीने से एकदम से we have oily face, तो वो चमकेगा ही. So that's why in between also we should stop and put that compact powder, not of a different color. मेरा जैसा complexion है उसी जैसा होना चाहिए. So here females can help. And professional wear. एक बार ये हुआ, एक इंसिडेंट आपको बताती हूँ. जो क्रोमा है उसमें क्या होता है?
For your valuable contribution, ma'am. Your expertise and insights are invaluable and have greatly enhanced the participants. I request Professor Dr. Abhijit Das sir to kindly facilitate ma'am on behalf of our institute. With your permission, ma'am, we thus conclude this session and look forward to many more such interesting sessions with you in the near future. Thank you.
And please call everyone for group photographs.
So here we will be talking about the brief introduction I have already given to you. We will be talking about the NAAC, their mission and core values, their assessment framework, quality indicator framework, 7 criteria of NAAC accreditation, each one, and then we will be talking about the key indicators and matrices so that you know the scoring benchmarks and the rating systems. So this will be included in this. So now coming to the NAAC, what do you understand by NAAC? What is the full form of NAAC? Yes, anyone? Can you tell me what?
Assessment and Accreditation Center.
That is National Assessment and
Accreditation
Accreditation Council.
Council.
It was established by the UGC, that is University Grant Commission of India in 1994. With the objective, the purpose was to promote and ensure quality standards in higher education across India through a systematic assessment and the accreditation process. Initially, it was given only to the limited number of institutions, and they were actually having that particular type of system that they achieved. And nowadays, it has been become the mandate for every institution to have NAAC accreditation, because it has been noticed that universities are not able to handle the student chunk which they are having in a proper way. University is having lakhs of students through the affiliated institutions or the distance learning model or the online management system. And when I talk about the quality of assessment of the students which is done by the system, that is not appropriate. I think I do not need to expedite what is happening in the IPOs. अगर हम किसी भी affiliated, I am not talking about any specific university. If I talk about any of the university, they are having, and this is happening because the students are more, and to cater the students, the number of students should get reduced. And for that, we have one thing, that is make the organizations autonomous. है ना? अगर आपको बच्चों को quality education देनी है, then it is the most part that you should have less number of students on which you have to focus. ठीक है ना? अगर मुझे ये autonomy लेनी है, yesterday when we were talking about this, that we are an affiliated institution, we do not have power to revise our syllabus. We cannot come with the bridging of that particular gap which is there between the academia and the industry. And to bridge that particular gap, what I require is, I should develop my syllabus mind. And to get the authority that you develop your syllabus by your own, you need the autonomous structure. You need the autonomous status. And to get the autonomous status, your institution, your basically college should have a particular standard. अगर आप उस स्टैंडर्ड तक नहीं पहुंचे तो आप एलिजिबल नहीं हैं ऑटोनॉमी के लिए. Yourself that you have that particular caliber to run your organization as an autonomous institution. So for that I require some framework. So after a lot of discussions, it was decided to frame a body, and that NAAC body is now responsible for doing so. If an institution gets A grade, till last year, if an institution gets the A grade and A plus or A plus plus grade, they can go for the autonomous status. If an organization is getting A plus plus grade, they can directly approach and get the autonomous status. If you are having A plus, you can directly go for that, and A also eligible to apply. Means the grade point is more than 3.01 out of 4 are eligible to become the autonomous institutions. If I talk about the South India, most of the institution has taken this autonomous status and they are doing very well. Very well, because if you remember in the first or second interaction with us together, we were discussing about the input comes from admission and output goes to the placements. If my education system, if my delivery and the quality of content which I am providing to the student is as per the industry standard, my placement will increase. And with the increase of placement, automatically the admissions will increase. When admissions will increase, my institution will grow. So that is the reason why the government wants that every institution should take NAAC accreditations. If they have taken the NAAC accreditation, automatically it becomes a certificate for them that you are eligible to become an autonomous institution. So the core purpose was to promote and ensure the quality standards in higher education across India through a systematic assessment and the accreditation process. So when we talk about this, we can assess and accredit higher education institution based on the predetermined criteria, which is being given in the form of NAAC manual, which is given in the form of NIRF manual, which is given in the form of NBA manual. And the indicators which we will be talking about are also the indicators for other type of accreditation bodies. Only the difference is there that if I talk about the NBA, it is program specific. So more of the data which they are requiring from you is related to the program, not related to the institution. But if I talk about the NAAC, it is talking about the institution. So you have to give the quality, and the more focus is on all the parameters which are there with the institutions. It encourages self-evaluation, continuous improvement in the academic quality, provides stakeholders with reliable information about the institutional quality, and facilitate national and international recognition of higher education system. If your institution is accredited, then you have that the institution have that particular value outside India, that the credit can be transferred. If a student has done degree from suppose my college and he goes to outside somewhere else in the somewhere else foreign country, then he he can have the credit transfer, because accreditation to NAC certifies that he is coming from a very good institution. Okay. So the institution gets a recognition if it is having the grade, any grade, and it has gone through the accreditation process, and they are basically welcomed outside India also. These are some of the mission and the core values of basically NAC. So when I am talking about to ensure the quality assurance as an integral part of the functioning of the higher educations, I will be talking about the 5 attributes, 5 core values. First is the contributing to the national development. Why national development? Because I am aligning higher education with the national goals and the priorities which has been finalized by my education system. अभी जैसे NEP आया, तो हम लोगों ने अपनी education system को किससे align करना start कर दिया? NEP के साथ में. If some other thing comes, we'll be aligning, and that becomes a part of the accreditation system. Then the institutions are forced to implement it in the education system, so that they are basically aligned with the goals which the Government of India Education Ministry has framed for all of us. And fostering global competencies among students, as I already told you, credit transfer हो सकते हैं. Credit transfer क्यों हो सकते हैं? Because it gives a license that you are from a good quality educational system. So you can develop the skills that enable students to succeed in the global environment. Third, inculcating a value system among the students. Everyone sitting here is from the accredited institutions only, because RDIS is also accredited. So when I talk about this, you know there is a special column where we talk about the Indian knowledge system. Why Indian knowledge system has been incorporated over there? Because here we are promoting conduct and the social responsibility scheme. The student should know what are his responsibility towards the country, towards the society, and he should be able to do that. In upcoming criteria, we are also embedding the mental wellness and the social clubs. Okay. So next is promoting the use of technology, integrating technology into teaching, learning, and the institutional management. You must have seen that in last 4 days we were talking about the technology continuously, how we can use the technology and we can make our class interactive, and we can teach the students about the latest technology which is coming into the market, so that that gap between the education and the industry is being reduced, plus the student is able to compete all over the world on global platform. Then quest for excellence, continuous improvement in pursuit of the highest quality standards, and these standards are mentioned like this. Then we come to the NAC assessment framework. When I am talking about the NAC assessment framework, it talks about the number 1, institutional self-assessment. That is SSR. जब हम SSR की बात करते हैं, the institute assesses itself on various parameters, which we will be talking about in later on. 7 criteria हम इसकी बात करें. But the institution assesses itself. But वो जो उसने assess किया है, because when I will assess myself, I will give full marks to myself. ये human tendency है. मैं जब अपने आप को assess करूँगी, तो मेरा क्या रहेगा कि I should give the maximum marks. है ना? That means over evaluation. 3 type की evaluation, under evaluation, over evaluation, and the right evaluation. So what I do? Over evaluation. 99% people do the over evaluation. ऐसे ही SSR में होता है, हम लोग भी अपने आप को over evaluate कर लेते हैं कई बार. So what happens? The data which we have filled along with the SSR, it goes to the NAC, and the NAC frames the committee which analyzes our SSR. On various parameters, whatever data we have given, that is analyzed by the NAC assessment committee. They assess and they check whether all the documentation and all the proofs which are being given by the institution are acceptable. acceptable or not. Because many things we think that they are good from our side, but they think that is not okay for them. So they come out with the data verification and validation part. They come out with some errors, but they do not reflect those errors at the first time. Why? Because they wanted to know and have a clarification whether what they are thinking and with what perspective the organization has submitted, the institution has submitted, is matching or not matching. So whenever I want to do that, it is necessary for me that I should give the answer to all the TVV questions which they have asked me. Even they ask for specific, I want the basically the SBT certificate of this particular student to verify. I want the appointment letter of this particular faculty for appointment. I want the mark sheet of this particular student. I want this brochure of this particular event. कुछ भी मांग सकते हैं. That means whenever you are filling this particular SSR, be cautious that only the true information is being given to them, supported by the valid documents. Okay? Then once they do it, they give marking to it, and then they say it might be possible that on paper what I am receiving that should be checked. So there is a weightage criteria of 68-32, 62-38, sorry. It changed. पहले 70-30 था, then it changed to 62-38. और अब तो ऑनलाइन विजिट हुआ करेगी. टेक्निया में अभी रिसेंटली जो विजिट हुई है वो ऑनलाइन हुई है. So now physical visit has been skipped. But
So there will be no physical visits.
you can opt for physical visit or for the online
Okay, option is.
option है. लेकिन अगले साल टोटली ऑनलाइन हो जाएगा. बिकॉज ऑनलाइन करने से क्या हो जाएगा, वो जो बीच में सिस्टम टाइपिंग सिस्टम आ गया था वो नहीं हो पाएगा.
इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर जो है उसका कैसे होता है?
They ask you to make a
The
video.
photos and the videos of
Videos. They ask you to make the videos. Few days back I was having an interaction with the faculty of Technia. So I asked them how do you do it. We were sitting at the place and whatever they were asking, we were showing them, and we were having a side person was sitting and having ChatGPT, and we used to frame the data. And then record तो नहीं हो रहा है. भाई प्लीज इसे कट कर देना जो भी है. अगर आपने इसको कॉमन प्लेटफॉर्म पे डाल दिया तो मेरे में पेस्ट कर दो. हैं? हाँ ये याद रखिए ना, ये वाला पैराग्राफ हटा देना. Because we do not have right to defame anyone. That is wrong on my part also. मुझे याद नहीं रहा रिकॉर्डिंग हो गया. ठीक है? So we are able to get that particular part. So थोड़ा सा इसके गुड पॉइंट्स भी हैं, बैड पॉइंट्स भी हैं. गुड पॉइंट्स हैं कि आप शो करते टाइम पे बहुत सारी चीज़ों को छुपा पाते हैं. फिजिकल विजिट में पॉसिबल नहीं है, ऑनलाइन विजिट में हो सकता है. बट बैड पॉइंट्स क्या है? ये इंस्टीट्यूशन के लिए गुड बैड पॉइंट्स होता है. बैड पॉइंट्स क्या है कि इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में वो जब इवैल्यूएशन करेगा ना तो वो जर्नल इवैल्यूएशन करता है. वो उसके अंदर बहुत हाई इवैल्यूएशन नहीं रहता, मतलब ओवर इवैल्यूएशन वाले चांसेस नहीं है. एक्चुअल इवैल्यूएशन भी कई बार अंडर परफॉर्म हो जाती है इफ यू आर अ गुड इंस्टीट्यूशन. बैड के लिए फायदा है, वो अपने आप को अपग्रेड करके दिखा सकता है. गुड के लिए मुश्किल है क्योंकि गुड वाले में जो चीज़ें विजिबली दिखाई देंगी वो सब इधर होते हैं. तो देयर आर both types of things over there. But the thing is that peer visit take place, on-site assessment and verification takes place. The committee assesses your infrastructure and whatever we have claimed during the SSR, and then they give us marks out of 38 views. 62 has already been taken care of by the SSR online submission, and 38% is taken care of by the committee. And then final evaluation of both the things together is done, and we get the NAAC grade. So this is how it works. So institution self-assessment document based on specific criteria are to be submitted. External peer review on-site evaluation by the team of academic experts is done. Student satisfaction survey is taken in this. Most important, अगर आपका student satisfaction survey जो है उसकी रिपोर्ट आपके पास 50% से ज़्यादा नहीं है, then you will not get evaluation. सबसे पहले जैसे ही आप SSR सबमिट करते हैं, एक स्टूडेंट सेटिस्फेक्शन सर्वे का फॉर्म है, जिन बच्चों को आपने डेटा दिया है, जिसके अंदर आपके ईमेल एड्रेस आपने दिए थे, उनके ऊपर शूट होके एक आपका स्टूडेंट सर्वे फॉर्म जाता है ऑनलाइन, and the student has to fill the feedback. There are around 15 questions. The parameters on which the student has to assess their this institution, they have to give the marks. है ना? तो स्टूडेंट सेटिस्फैक्शन सर्वे में जब आपको एक पर्टिकुलर मार्क्स मिलते हैं और इतने बच्चों ने आपको है ना मार्किंग दिया है, तभी आपका आगे का विजिट प्लान होगा, वो सॉरी SSR चेक होगा, नहीं तो SSR चेक नहीं होगा। SSR चेक करने के लिए स्टूडेंट satisfaction survey is must part. So data validation, verification of the institutional claims is done, and then that particular cycle goes on. Then we come to the quality indicator frameworks. Now let's talk about the quality indicator framework. This is the central methodology used by the NAAC to assess and evaluate the quality of higher education institutions. So we are having 7 assessment criteria divided into 2 types. One is QLM and another one is the QLM. QLM is the quantitative metrics and QLM is the qualitative metrics. And when I talk about the 7 assessment criteria, we are having 34 key indicators here. That means and we are having approximately 100 matrices when we are talking about. So comprehensive evaluation structure covered all aspects of institutional function. Benchmark designed on a 0 to 4 scale for objective everywhere. For every assessment is from 0 to 4, but the marks which are allocated to that is different. Suppose if I am talking about the 1.1, the marks allocated is 100, but marking will be done from 0 to 4. Not having the board, थोड़ा सा समझने की कोशिश कर लेना। When I am saying 0 to 4 means मैंने है ना 1.1 का आंसर दिया, है ना, और उसके मार्क्स है ये 100, और उसके अंदर मैंने जो दिया evaluation के अंदर 0 to 4, इसका मतलब क्या? I can give 0, I can give 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 means 100% marks, पूरे 100 मिलेंगे। तो evaluation करते टाइम अगर मैंने 0 दिया तो 100 में से आपको 0 मिला। अगर मैंने 1 दिया तो 100 divided by 4 कितना होता है? 25, 25 marks. So if I am giving 1 marks as an assessor, you will get 25 out of 100. If I am giving 2, then you will be getting 50 out of 100. Similarly,
भी हो सकता है, फ्रैक्शन भी हो सकता है।
अभी तक ऐसा देखा नहीं है सर, पर जब फ्रैक्शन में मार्क्स आ सकते हैं तो फ्रैक्शन होना चाहिए, बट अभी तक नहीं देखा है और कहीं लिखा नहीं है रिटन में कि we can get the marks in fraction. तो इसलिए मैं उसके ऊपर कुछ बोलूँगी। उसके बाद we come to the comprehensive evaluation हो गया हमारा on the various parts. Then we have the benchmark designed from 0 to 4 scale for objective assessment, and for that we are having the benchmarks also. Sorry, I forgot to put up that benchmark sheet with me. Benchmarks में क्या होता है? जितने भी मेरे QLM है, QLM का कोई बेंचमार्क नहीं है, प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड। QLM क्वालिटेटिव मैट्रिक्स है और क्वालिटेटिव मैट्रिक्स का कोई बेंचमार्क नहीं होता।